The battle at Vega 9. The skies above Vega 9 burned. Plasma fire stitched glowing scars across the heavens as human assault ships clashed with Zendari warcruisers. On the ground below, the once lush forest smoldered, reduced to charred stumps and ash. Every breath tasted of smoke and metal. Captain Elias Brandt crouched behind the twisted wreckage of an armored personnel carrier, pulse rifle pressed tight to his shoulder. Sweat trickled down the back of his neck despite the chill of the atmosphere. His HUD blinked red. Enemy units approaching. Delta 7, status check, Elias murmured, voice steady despite the chaos. His squad, 7 hardened veterans, answered in turn. All green. All alive. For now. The Zendari were relentless. The insectal, 4-armed creatures fought with machine-like precision, their chitinous armor impervious to small arms. Elias had fought them before, but nothing about this felt routine. Each battle was a meat grinder. Humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and out-tetched. But they still held the line. Contact West Ridge, shouted Sergeant Lin, snapping Elias's attention back to the fight. Alien shadows moved through the smoke. Zendari warriors, their eyes glowing like molten amber. Suppressive fire. Move to cover. Elias barked. The team responded with trained efficiency. Bolts of plasma and railgun slugs lit up the ruined forest. Screeches echoed as some of the enemy fell, but more kept coming. Amid the confusion, Elias spotted something. An armored Zendari officer, larger than the others, his carapace gleaming dark blue. He moved erratically, wounded, stumbling. A Zendari commander. If they could take him alive, command might learn something useful. On me, Elias ordered, leading Lin and 2 others in a flanking maneuver. Gunfire roared around them, but they pushed forward, weapons trained on the staggering alien. The Zendari collapsed to his knees. Instead of raising his claws in defense, the creature weakly held up 2 arms, one of them slick with iridescent blood. His mandibles clicked in a broken rhythm. Elias's translator caught fragments. Failed, forgive, failure. The words caught Elias off guard. He'd heard plenty of Zendari screams, growls, threats, but never this. Never vulnerability. Hold fire, Elias said, raising a hand. Sir? It's a trap, Lin warned, weapon steady. Hold. Elias stepped closer, rifle still ready but not aimed. The alien's multifaceted eyes locked onto his. They weren't so different, he realized. Eyes full of fear, pain, desperation. The human's heart thudded hard his chest. He could finish it now. A single shot. Instead, he knelt. Easy, Elias said softly. We're not going to kill you. The alien shivered, mandibles twitching. Its breathing came in ragged gasps. For a moment, no one moved. The battlefield noise seemed distant, as if the world itself held its breath. Elias reached for the small med patch on his belt, standard issue, rarely used on enemies. He hesitated. Every protocol, every military instinct screamed at him to leave the creature to die. But something deeper, something human, overrode it. He pressed the med patch to the worst of the wounds. The alien flinched but didn't resist. Its strange eyes remained locked on Elias's face. And then, without fully understanding why, Elias whispered the words. I'm sorry. The translator rendered the phrase, soft and simple. The Zendari's breathing slowed. The trembling lessened. It watched him with an unreadable expression, something more than fear. Something approaching comprehension. Extraction incoming. Lin called. Dropship engines roared in the distance. Elias stood, motioning for the others to lift the wounded alien onto a stretcher. His mind still reeled. Why had he apologized? To an enemy who'd burned cities, slaughtered civilians? He didn't know. Maybe because no one else would. The dropship touched down in a blast of dust and heat. As Delta 7 boarded, cradling the unconscious alien, Elias caught sight of the wider battlefield. Burning trees, distant screams, wreckage strewn across the land. The war would continue. He would kill again. But somewhere, deep down, a seed had been planted. One small act. One unnecessary apology. And though Elias couldn't know it, far beyond Vega 9. This single moment would soon echo across alien worlds, shaking beliefs, questioning ancient hatreds, and making every alien race that heard of it reconsider. Ripples in the galaxy. The news of Captain Elias Brandt's apology spread faster than any weapon ever could. What should have been a minor battlefield footnote, one wounded Zendari commander, one human officer, was whispered through military channels, then through political networks, until it became an obsession in the alien heart of the Zendari Imperium. The Zendari High Command gathered in the crystalline war chambers aboard the flagship Karzul, a vast city-sized vessel drifting silently in deep space. Alien generals, towering, armored creatures with gleaming exoskeletons and multi-limbed grace, watched with unblinking eyes as the footage replayed for the 100th time. There in grainy combat recording was the human. His face was bruised, his armor scorched, but his actions were clear. Instead of delivering a final shot, he knelt beside the wounded Commander Threxel, stabilized the injury, and uttered two simple words in a soft, alien-twisted tongue. "I'm sorry." For the Zendari, this was unthinkable. "Humans show regret?" hissed General Vraxis, his voice like metal scraping on stone. His mandibles clicked in disbelief. "It is a trick," another argued. "A tactic of confusion. Their species is dangerous. This act is deception." But others remained silent, unsettled. The Zendari Imperium prided itself on honor through strength. Their culture valued victory, loyalty, survival of the fittest. Mercy was weakness. Apology was meaningless. Yet here was a human, a creature from a species dismissed as primitive, offering empathy in the heat of battle. It defied everything they'd been taught. And Threxel, now healing aboard the medical ship Vorzun, refused to denounce the act. Meanwhile, in human space, Elias Brandt sat alone in the cold metal confines of the UHS Resolute's observation deck, staring out at the stars. Below, Vega 9's bruised blue atmosphere swirled in slow motion. The battle was over. The planet remained in human hands, barely. His squad survived, but he couldn't shake the moment. The alien eyes, the trembling claws, the whispered apology returned by silent understanding. "Mind if I sit?" came a voice behind him. Elias glanced back. Sergeant Lynn stood holding two steaming cups of CAF. She offered one without a word. He took it, nodding his thanks. "Weird day," Lynn said after a moment. "Yeah," Elias murmured. "Weird." She sat beside him, both of them watching the stars. "They're talking about it, you know. Command. Even the brass is spooked. Some think you're a hero. Others think you've lost it." Elias gave a dry chuckle. "Wouldn't be the first time." Lynn hesitated, then asked, "Why did you do it?" The question made him pause. The answer wasn't tactical. It wasn't strategic. "I don't know," he admitted. "Instinct, maybe. Or maybe I just got tired of pretending we're all monsters." They sat in silence. The distant hum of the engines filled the space between them. Across the galaxy, the ripples continued. The Kelver hegemony, a reptilian empire known for its cold pragmatism, convened an emergency assembly. The Vrasai mind clans, ethereal hive-minded beings of plasma and light, paused their eternal calculations to analyze this anomaly. Reports flooded in from listening posts and intelligence drones. Zendari raids along border colonies slowed. Some ceasefire requests emerged from unlikely sectors. Alien diplomats, who previously saw humans as little more than violent barbarians, began asking quiet, careful questions about Earth's ancient cultures, its religions, its wars, and its reconciliations. What the aliens could not fathom, what disturbed them deeply, was not the human capacity for violence. They already knew humans could destroy. It was that humans could choose not to. They could show mercy not for gain, not from fear, but because of something illogical, something emotional. Insect minds, reptile minds, crystalline minds, none of them fully grasped this. And in their confusion, the first cracks in centuries-old hostilities appeared. Back on the Resolute, Elias received an unexpected message. A priority transmission. Not from Earth. Not from his own command. From Zendari High Command. The translation took several minutes. The words arrived jagged and strange, but carried unmistakable weight. We do not understand this apology. We request explanation. You will come. Helios Arc. Neutral ground. You, and no other. Elias stared at the message in disbelief. Lin read over his shoulder. You're kidding me. He wasn't. The Zendari Imperium, humanity's most brutal enemy, had requested a meeting, not with admirals or diplomats, but with him. And far beyond Vega, 9, alien leaders whispered in darkened halls. If humans could apologize, if they could feel remorse, what else were they capable of? The galaxy itself had begun to reconsider the gathering of the species. The Helios Arc was unlike anything Captain Elias Brandt had ever seen. Floating at the convergence point of 5 major trade routes, the ancient space station was neutral territory, a place where ceasefires were signed and wars temporarily paused. Its massive, gleaming rings spun around a golden core, casting soft light on ships of every known species gathered in uneasy peace. As the UHS Resolute's shuttle docked, Elias adjusted the unfamiliar ceremonial uniform they'd handed him. No armor, no weapons, just deep navy blue cloth and polished black boots. He felt exposed. Ready? Sergeant Lin asked over comms. She wasn't allowed to accompany him inside, but watch from the shuttle's bridge. Not even a little, Elias muttered. The airlock hissed open. Dozens of eyes, some organic, some crystalline, some compound, turned to him as he stepped into the grand chamber of the Helios Arc. The assembled species were terrifying in their diversity. Towering Zendari with glittering carapaces. Snake-like Kelver coiled around floating perches. Translucent Vrasai mind-shapers, whose bodies flickered like living nebulae. Even the rare and secretive Oralis, creatures of liquid silver, stood in silent observation. And in the center of it all, a single empty podium waited. A quiet, ancient voice spoke through the station's universal translator system. Human, step forward. Speak. Elias's boots echoed on polished metal as he moved to the center. His heart pounded, not from fear of death, but from the sheer weight of eyes, of history, of expectation. He took a breath. I'm not a diplomat, he began, voice steady. I'm a soldier. I've fought in this war for 5 years. I've seen friends die. I've seen civilians burn. And I've killed more times than I can count. Some of the aliens tilted their heads in recognition. This was what they expected from a human, violence. But Elias continued. That day on Vega 9, something happened I didn't plan for. I saw an enemy, wounded, beaten, and I didn't pull the trigger. I helped him. Murmurs rippled through the alien assembly. Soft flashes of bioluminescence among the Vrasai, low hisses from the Kelver. And I said something. 2 words. Something that, apparently, no one in this galaxy ever expected from a human. I'm sorry. The room was silent. I didn't say it because I feared him. I didn't say it because I thought he'd spare me. I said it because I saw, for one moment, that we weren't so different. He was alive. I was alive. And I couldn't be the one to end him. Elias's voice dropped lower. Where I come from, apology isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the moment when you choose not to be ruled by hate, not to be ruled by the past. It's the start of something better. An alien delegate, an ancient Kelver matriarch, leaned forward, her golden eyes narrow. Your species burned 5 of our worlds. We have the scars of your better choices. Why apologize now? Elias didn't flinch. We've all done terrible things. Humans, yes. But I've seen Zendari forces do the same. Kelver, Vrasai, every species here has blood on its hands. A pause. I'm not here to erase the past, he said. I'm here to say it doesn't have to define us. Somewhere in the crowd, Commander Threxel, the very Zendari Elias had spared, watched in silence. His injuries were healed, but his expression was unreadable. Another alien, one of the mind-clustered Vrasai, spoke without sound, its thoughts translated into words. Your apology changed nothing. War continues. Elias met the entity's gaze. Maybe, for now, but I know something shifted. Because I'm standing here, alive, speaking to you instead of shooting at you. And because some of you paused, you wondered. That's the beginning. Another murmur spread. One Kelver, a high-ranking general, spoke softly to his own advisors. If humans can act without calculation, without expectation of gain, what else are they capable of? The question hung unspoken over the chamber. The ancient voice of the station spoke again. Are you asking for peace? Elias shook his head. Not yet. Maybe not today. But I'm asking for something smaller, a chance to be seen as more than what we've all been told to be. He let the words hang. I'm not perfect. No human is. But we're more than weapons. Hours later, back aboard the shuttle, Elias slumped into his seat, drained. Over the comms, Lynn asked quietly, "How'd it go?" Elias looked through the window at the stars. "I don't know," he said softly. "But I think they're thinking." In silent halls across the galaxy, alien leaders gathered in secret, replaying his words again and again. And for the first time, the cold machinery of endless war hesitated. Reconsideration. The galaxy did not change overnight. The wars didn't end. Battles still raged on shattered moons and burnt worlds. Human ships still clashed with Zendari cruisers. Old grudges did not vanish with a single conversation. And yet, something shifted. It began quietly. On the mineral-rich colony of Tethra 3, where human settlers faced relentless raids from Kelver forces, a temporary ceasefire held longer than any before. Messages passed between commanders, tentative, awkward, but carrying a new tone. On the icy moon of Hallex Prime, a Vrasai mine cluster allowed a stranded human scout to survive long enough for rescue, offering no explanation for its mercy. And on Vega 9 itself, where it had all begun, human soldiers reported strange behavior. Zendari patrols withdrawing rather than engaging in futile slaughter. Skirmishes that once spiraled into bloodbaths, now sometimes stopped. The galaxy wasn't at peace, but it was pausing. For Captain Elias Brandt, life returned to routine, at least on the surface. Weeks after the Helios arc, he was back aboard the UHS Resolute, leading missions, managing supplies, sitting through endless debriefings. His face now appeared on military briefings and alien intelligence reports alike. To some, he was a symbol of hope. To others, an object of suspicion. One evening, alone in his quarters, a private transmission blinked across his console. Encrypted, Priority 1. The source, Zendari Imperium. Frowning, Elias accepted it. The screen displayed the image of Commander Threxel. The alien's glittering eyes locked onto his. "Brandt," the translator rendered softly. "I was instructed to deliver a message. There are voices within our leadership. Voices that now question what we have always believed. Some call for escalation, others for dialogue." Elias kept his face neutral. "And you?" Threxel hesitated, a tiny but telling shift in his mandibles. "I do not understand your species," the alien admitted. "I do not understand this apology, but I find I cannot dismiss it." The admission carried enormous weight. "We may meet again," Threxel said. "Perhaps as enemies. Perhaps not." The transmission ended. Elias sat back, breathing slowly. Elsewhere, alien leaders debated behind closed doors. The Kelver matriarchs whispered in ancient chambers. The Vrasai recalculated endless probabilities. Even the aloof Iralis, beings of liquid intelligence, watched from afar, their silver bodies flickering with unfamiliar interest. They all came to the same quiet, unsettling realization. If humans could show empathy without gain, if they could regret, if they could choose to hold back when they had the power to destroy, then humanity was far more dangerous, far more unpredictable than any of them had imagined. Brute strength could be calculated. Ruthless efficiency could be matched. But this capacity for mercy, for change, for apology, it was something ancient galactic powers had not accounted for, and it terrified them. Elias didn't seek fame, and he didn't care for politics. He returned to the front lines because it was all he knew. But as the months passed, he noticed it. The small changes. A Zendari squad letting a crippled human shuttle limp away rather than vaporizing it. A Kelver unit returning human prisoners instead of executing them. Quiet messages of parley exchanged where none had existed before. And sometimes, just sometimes, when he met alien eyes across a battlefield, he no longer saw only hatred. He saw hesitation. He saw thought. He saw something human. One mission brought Elias back to Vega 9. The forests were beginning to regrow, thin shoots of green amid blackened soil. Life, stubborn as ever. As he knelt near the old battlefield where it had all started, he ran his fingers over the dirt. "Sir," Lynn's voice came softly over calms. "What are you thinking?" Elias smiled faintly. "That maybe something's changing," he said. "Not fast, not easy, but changing." He stood, lifting his rifle, and looked out over the horizon, dawn creeping over the planet's ruined hills. Because sometimes all it took was the smallest crack for the light to get in. And sometimes all it took was two simple words, words that no one in the galaxy had expected from human, to begin the long, slow process of making every alien race. Reconsider.